Hey guys, as you know, I am the author of the Multifamily Investors Who Dominate book, bestseller. It was a great book. And a lot of people have asked me over time, how did you write the book? Like, what were the steps you went through? Many of you have ideas and you get stumbled because you don't even know the first step to go through. Well, in this video, I'm gonna walk you through the 10 steps I went through to write a book that'll make it a lot smoother for you. Stick around. Let's go! The good news is the writing process is really not all that hard. I'm going to give you some key tips on how to get all your ideas down on paper. It's getting it to print, getting it to the audience. That's the trip up and requires some work, but I'm going to make it super simple. So the first tip is determining whether or not you have a great niche to write about. Is there a need for what you want to write about? You may have a lot of knowledge about something and could really educate someone, but if someone's already done that 5,000 times, it's not going to be a great read. For instance, in my field, I'm a commercial real estate broker. All I sell is multifamily apartment complexes. Well, in my field, all the books that existed were about how to do calculations, how to find debt sources, how to raise capital, how to manage the properties properly, but there was no book on how the inner workings happen between brokers and sellers, what your reputation means in the market, how the most elite investors, sort of that inside look, have transacted so many deals for a long period of time. So because there was a need and there was a niche for it, it took off. Now, the second tip is a pretty good one, if you can afford it. I had a certain mentor in my business in the real estate field who had also written books that was able to guide me through the process and point me in the right directions and do a good job of some of my editing and proofreading as well. If you don't have that person, there's no problem. We'll go to step 3 and you can still accomplish this. But if you got someone who's done this before and can walk you through the process, hire them, pay them if you have to, well worth it, and will speed up your process a lot better. The next tip is it's time to start writing, and what we want to do is what's called a mind dump. A mind dump is where you just get at a computer and you just start typing out every thought about your subject in your head. Anything that comes to your head, you're just typing sentences. They don't have to be complete sentences. They don't have to be punctuated. I just bullet pointed it. I turn on the bullet point of the computer and I just start going boom, 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 boom. I type it out, hit enter, next bullet point, next bullet point. You want to get it all out of your head. This may take days, it may take weeks, but you're just getting every thought out. You think about all the times when you're in the bathroom, you're in the shower, you're driving down the road, right when you put your head down to sleep, you've been having all these thoughts already about your subject matter that you want to write about. Now you can put it in a recorder and type it out later, or you can enter it in your cell phone and type it out later. Whatever it is, all this stuff that enters your head, you're just getting it on paper for now. That's that next step. The next step is you're now going to take that mind dump and organize it into what you think the chapters are going to be. Now, your chapters may change over time as you get down the process, but right now you're just taking all those mind dump thoughts and organizing them under chapter headings the best you can. Next step, now that you have these mind dump thoughts under each category or topic, it's now time to start writing the chapters. And since you have tons of bullet points per chapter, you'll use those bullet points to start writing the chapter. And again, your editors and proofreaders, which we're going to talk about in subsequent steps, will make this look and smell and taste really good. Right now, you're going to do your best to write these chapters as though someone's going to read them in the finished product. The experts will end up making it perfect for you in the end. All right, next step is it's time to hire the editor. Now, the editor is not the person who's going to be making sure you've spelled things right and your grammar is perfect. The editor is more of the big picture person. They're going to read your book and determine whether or not your chapter headings make sense, whether or not your chapters are in the right order. What's the flow of your story and does it make any sense? And they may also look at it and determine what is the number one theme or what's the best theme and have you accentuate those, or they may introduce a new theme. They're the big picture person. When you're working with the editor, there's going to be several back and forths. They're going to give you new ideas and things to tighten up. You're going to do those things and bring it back to them. They're going to like it or not like it. And so you're going to have a couple of iterations back and forth until you have a very good readable project. And then it's time for the next step. Step number 7 is the proofreader. This is the person that's going to get super detailed. They're looking at the spelling, the punctuations, does the sentence make sense? Step number 8 is hiring the person to do the design and the paginations. What I mean by that is they're going to design the cover of your book. They're going to design maybe some of the illustrations or pictures inside the book, maybe even the little squigglies that start each chapter. But they're also going to be working on how much space do you want from the crease of the book to the start of the first paragraph? How much space is from the top of the page to where the words start? Do you want center justified or left justified? They're getting all of the book prepared so that when it's sent to the printer is basically just going right off of what this person has done. They are essentially creating a fully designed PDF so that when it goes to the next step, the printer, everything is done perfect. Step number 9 is it's time to go to printing. When you hire the printing company, you're going to give them the file from the design and pagination person. They're going to go through it to make sure it does fit perfect into their computers and their printers, and they're going to run off a couple of test runs, and they may even mail you a couple of test books to make sure it looks right. They're also going to send you some proofs to make sure that looks good, the PDF, and you're going to have to determine how many copies you want to have run. Obviously, the more copies you have run, the better the discount per book price. Also, I've learned that printing companies will run a bleed-off number of copies where the first 100 or 200 books is where they're getting their printer warmed up, and it may have some smudge marks and such, and they'll give those books to you at a greater discount. Once those first 100 or 200 have gotten the printer right, now they're going to print your 500 copies, 2,000 copies, whatever it is. And the final step, number 10, is I highly encourage you to do an Audible version and a Kindle version. Let me tell you, I almost didn't do this. I was just going to go with a hard copy. And the hard copy ended up being only 43% of my book sales. 39% was audio and 18% have been Kindle. Now, the Kindle version is very easy because you've already done the work for it. It just needs to be tweaked a little bit in order to upload to the Kindle platform. For the audiobook, you have to find an audio company that does book recordings. You'll go into their studio, into a really cool soundproof room. You'll be at a computer with your book in front of you on a PDF. Lights and cameras are on you, and you've got someone in the booth who's listening to every word that you read to make sure that the words you say out loud are done correctly and go by the book words that you have in print. They are literally watching and listening to you speak and reading your book as you speak it to make sure that the two collide perfectly. The audio company will then send you the audio files that you can proofread. The audio company will then email you those files into a Dropbox or the like, and you'll listen to them to make sure they're good. They're also going to send you those files in a format in which allows you to upload them to audible.com because they have their own specs and ways that has to be done. Okay, so those are the 10 steps I went through. And trust me, it's a lot of hard work. I made it simple on a video. The other way you could go about this, if you have the funds and you wanted to go quicker, there are companies that handle the whole process for you. They handle the editing and the proofreading and getting it to the Audible companies and the recordings and all this stuff. It's obviously a much greater fee. And what we didn't talk about in the video is the process of getting a book to Amazon if that's how you're going to do it. Trust me, that's a whole separate video we can do if you have some interest. Comment below if you have some interest on that process. Okay, so what did it cost me to write a book? Well, in total, it was about $24,000 to produce the first 2,000 copies. However, 8,000 of that was paid to a mentor, as I mentioned before, to speed up my process. Not always do you need to have a mentor. That mentor, while they did do some editing, but had experience in my field to help me, so it was worth me paying them to do so. Otherwise, it would have been about $15,000. Now, for those of you who are in real estate, we're going to be doing a giveaway of my book, Multifamily Investors Who Dominate. Just give me a like and drop a comment down below, and we'll be choosing one lucky winner among those comments. Make sure you subscribe too, and hit that notification bell right next to it so you're made aware of my videos each week. See you guys on the next one.